Files since we're in October, 2 months later, and I want to get into basically YCS Dallas just happened, and a lot of people asked for another top 10 deck for the format, and basically I'm gonna say these first two are honorable mentions. So Tellers didn't make the cut. Only one player had been topping with them. World's format was different. They've actually just fallen off almost completely. Even with Instant Fusion, they don't really abuse the rank 4 engine as well as other decks do. So with that being said, the other honorable mention is Yang Zing. Didn't quite make the cut. I know it did well in ARG format, but that's literally a different format than this is Konami format. So it's relevant, it's good, it's something you could play against and lose to, but it's not top 10. So our first in the top 10 is Ritual Beast. Again, topped YCS Dallas, I think got something like 18th. Still a very relevant deck. It relies on its opening hand so much. I don't know how else to say that. It's very oriented on how they open, and Denko Second Decree just really hurt it, and everybody's citing some form of those for the most part. So let's move on. Number 9, we have Cliffords. They're very far down on my list now. Towers Turbo still really relevant, but almost everybody dedicates something to out Towers. And there are even decks that OTK through Towers. Crab King is a very common side. And I know this isn't allowed in Europe and Mexico, Crab King, but or Zubaba General for that matter. They don't have either. But for US Konami format, I put Cliffords at 9th. Going into 8th, Masked Heroes. They really abuse Instant Fusion. We've seen a lot from them. Sean Shakir won the Giant Card side event with, I believe, Clown Blade. But I watched him play a match against heroes that were very good. Masked Heroes just really get to abuse OTK things through Valk with Mask's Change. They get to abuse the rank 4 engine with Norden very well. They got powered up, so I put them a little higher on this list. And Dark Law with back row, as always, is the man. So, and a deck that gets to abuse Crush Card is alright by me. And number 7th, we have Psyframes. A lot of people are really hyped. It won the Giant Card day 1. Every single one of them, for the most part, are hand traps. It got 2 synchros of its own. It can synchro on your turn. It can clear the field by making synchros like Yazi. It's just very good, very relevant. Light, Psychics, has a lot of synergy as a deck. And once people really figure out this deck, I think it'll be even higher on this list come my next one of these videos. So, very good deck. I really like it. And I really think we're going to see a lot more Psyframes. Patrick Hopen played against 3 of them in his main event, and it was one of his ties. And Billy played against it in the day 2 also, while he was X2-1. Clownblade. Clownblade gets my 6th place vote. It's the most efficient rank 4 deck in my opinion. It just does what it does so well. It can just spam out 4s. It can OTK like crazy. It is very good. It can play at whatever pace it wants. It can go slow. It can go fast. It can play through Maxi. It can stop for Maxi. It gets back rows. I've always liked decks that are defensive and offensive. So a lot of you know the combo. The 2-card scene here is Clown comes back and brings back the blades with it. And it's just really good. There's so many ways to play it too. It got more support in high-speed riders with that 100/2000 that goes ahead and if your attack turns all of your opponent's monsters to defense, and it's a level 4. So we'll see some very interesting mirror matches with that and Juraghetto. Just a lot of skill-intensive things to do with this deck too, even though you are going for rank 4s. Like, you've got to know when to use your traps, when to go off, how to play through Maxi. And it also abuses Instant Fusion Norden very well. Cosmos. I put this on my top 10 list when no one else did back in, I believe, August for the upcoming format, and Cosmos is insane. It has proved itself. It's topped multiple regionals. It topped Dallas. it's done very well for itself, and new support has been announced that's just going to boost it as well. We know it's getting a trap card, an equip spell, and Dark Witch, so it's just really, really cool. Can't wait to be official announcements for what those do, but rumors for the Light Sword and for Dark Witch have been out there, and I mean, it just attacks for game, it disappears, you can't really Valk it until the Forerunner, and Forerunner is a beast on its own, can't be targeted, gains you 1,000 life points in standby, it's just really, really good. And of course, the ship destroys spells, has searchers, has a way to refresh your hand. You get to mulligan multiple times. It's just really an insane deck. And fourth place, we have Infernoids. It was also on my list when it wasn't on many other lists back in August, and now it's up to fourth. I'm not putting it any higher because it is a deck that relies on its opening hand very strongly and milling. Milling is a luck factor no matter what you want to say about it, no matter how you open. You can't control your opening hands, and a lot of you are going to figure this out as the deck goes on. You can open and brick just all monsters and have to deal with that, and just dedicate 2 or 3 cards to summoning one monster is pretty insane when you brick. So. And also, you can't really counter certain back rows, the back row decks very well. And Lancia just makes you lose a turn. Imperial Iron Wall is almost in a lot of side decks, so you're gonna it gets mileage against Necross because they can't use Iron Wall. It's very, very good against Burning Abyss. It's good against a lot of the top decks. But as I think it progresses, working around deck builds that will avoid bricking more, it'll be interesting to see how the deck evolves. And third, I'm putting Shuttles. I don't think this is biased to put it ahead of Infernoids. It's the deck that abuses Norden perhaps the best. I would argue Clownblade might do it as well, but I think as more Minervas come out and more people get to use Minerva, my bad. I'm a little sick. It's hard to pronounce. But we're gonna see that milling is luck again. But milling when you have 10 cards, 11 cards to hit, like Shadow Core and Shadow Monsters, and she's a light, so she helps with Construct. It's gonna be very interesting to see how that progresses with that card when it's in more hands. I think that Shadows are just overall very strong. I think there's a lot of options. There's a lot of different ways to play them. And I would say that for Burning Abyss too, which is actually coming up here soon. But I think Shuttles overall are just a very solid deck and very skillful and has a really huge option tree and very many ways to set up OTK through things like Valk. And I really like it, and it abuses Instant Fusion wonderfully. Second place, I am putting as Necross. As you saw represented, it did make the top 4 again in Dallas. It got 3rd place. It's a very, very good deck. It's still very solid. It abuses the Cloud Engine so well. I think Necross are still in the hands of a lot of the best pros for a very good reason. I think it bricks the least. And I think it has one of the highest option trees within Yu-Gi-Oh! It's self-explanatory at this point. If you don't know what Necross are, go ahead and check out some of our deck profiles on the channel. I have more recent ones in the in order. So if you haven't been keeping up, I mean Necross is still the beast. And number 1, I am still saying, despite Norden, despite Infernoids, despite everything, Burning Abyss is the best deck. It got 1st and 2nd at Nationals, and despite everything, it got 2 spots still in the top 4. I think it was the most represented deck in the top 32, even though it did not win. I think it has very, very consistent openers. If you open Monster Heavy, you're able to mill. You're able to get things in the graveyard like Breakthrough and Galaxy Cyclone. If you're playing that, you're able to get traps, you're able to control your hand space, and it's a very defensive, offensive deck that gets to run the most traps out of any deck in the format and gain advantage off of traps like no other deck can with things like Karma Cut, Regeki Break, and Wind Blast. So I dare to say Burning Abyss is still the best deck currently, despite Norden, despite everyone playing Double Dwellers. And there's a reason everyone's playing Double Dweller. It's mainly this deck. Like Double Dweller puts in work against a lot of decks, but the main reason is Burning Abyss. So when a deck is so powerful in a format that so many of the rank 4 decks have to just, put so much work into thinking about the deck, and also the ability to disrupt at any time with things like Fire Lake, like Icarus Attack used to be one of the best cards. Like, there's a reason Fire Lake is so powerful. This Burning Abyss is the one deck that keeps Cliffords in check. If Burning Abyss was gone, Cliffords would be much higher on this list. Like Cliffords counter Shuttles, they go head to head with Necross. It's this deck that really keeps Clifford so far down on the list. Even though their towers options are very low, they have a lot more ways to deal with it now. So thanks for watching. Questions, comments, or concerns, please go ahead and ask. And if you have opinions of your own, post them in the comments. Thanks for watching.